Hey guys, I'm back at the British Boutique Guitar Festival and I'm here with Jake from Parkhurst Guitars, and we're going to be looking at some of Jake's really cool guitars today. So let's start with the one I'm holding then. So what have we got here?
We have an S-style electric guitar made from Kentish elm, 160-year-old mahogany, flame roasted maple neck and fretboard to match.
Did you say 160-year-old?
I might have been wrong with that. So from 1860, so that makes it what, 160 years?
162 this year.
There we go then.
Yeah. Cool.
It's an old billiard table.
Okay.
So it doesn't show it on this side, but if you were to take out all the gubbins from underneath, there's like old screw holes and bits and bobs.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. That's cool.
Where it was all bolted down before.
That's pretty cool. So it's sort of got a bit of history to it as well, and it's sort of repurposed now as a guitar.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
It.
So what have we got electronically then? What's going on here?
Electronically, we've got volume, tone on a push, which coil taps the bridge pickup, and then we have a 5-way rotary.
Ah, cool. That's a bit different then.
Which does neck, middle, and bridge. Yeah, trying to find a wiring diagram for that, not particularly easy. But worked it out last night. Shallow tuners were not the original plan for them, and I need to do some work to just finish it off, because they are originally was going to be they're Grovers. Oh, sorry, Grover. Originally going to be shallow Da Vinci's, which require a 10mm hole.
Right.
But they were so fat that you see these two, they were overlapping and touching, so they wouldn't have worked. So I had to do like a quick fix. But these require an 8mm hole. So I had to just get the bushings to sit in, and then when I get back, I'll buy some adapters. And but this is the fun of making guitars.
Yeah, cool. That's it.
Things just crop at you and go, haha, and you've got to go, okay, I'll fix that.
The neck is nice and thin as well. It's like a very slim neck.
Very slim neck. I'm surprised that it's so slim.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I meant to make it so slim. I was aiming for like a custom kind of 22 or 24 PRS fill.
Right.
I think I may have just overstepped it, but no problem with that. Like super smooth, super shredding neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems okay.
Yeah, I'm usually someone who doesn't gravitate towards slim necks, but that does actually feel really comfortable.
Thank God for that.
So usually when I play a slim neck guitar, I just can't get any sort of
just feels
sense of it because it's just nothing there. But that, even though that is really thin, it's surprisingly comfortable. I think it's because it's slightly rounded on the back as well. It's not as flat as like a D profile on the back.
No.
So you've actually got something in the hand, but it's still...
Yeah, and I do all the rollovers on the fretboard side.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just slides around.
Nice.
And as a player myself, I kind of, you got to hold it and go, yeah, does that work? Does that work?
Yeah, it's the comfort thing as well, isn't it? You want it to sort of feel like it's slightly played in as well.
Yes.
Even though it's built fresh, you want it to feel like you've owned it for like 20 years, because that's what makes it that little bit more comfortable, I think.
Now there is a mod in there, the single coils, so there's like this little resistor mod you can do where it's supposed to be when you're on the single coils, the 500k parts drop to 250.
Okay, that's cool.
Now bear in mind we finished this at 11:30 last night and did the wiring at 11:30 last night. I'm not entirely convinced that's working, because the neck pickup sounds quite twangy and bright, and that might be the 500k, but it might just be my ears this morning. I'll get home and find out.
But the intention was there.
The intention's there. I've done it before, so I just need to make sure it's working again.
Yeah. So the 5-way rotary switch then, before we hear it, that's just going to work like a typical 5-way switch.
Exactly.
Like obviously down is all the bridge, and then obviously as you go through the positions,
Yes, that's exactly it.
All the usual combinations, like position 4 is the neck and middle.
Yes,
all that.
I considered putting the 7-way Gilmore mod in, which means you could add another push-pull and the bridge activates at any position, but I think that was maybe a bit too much last night. And we've already got 7 rotary, we've already got push-pull. I think that is I think we'll call it a day on that. There's only a certain amount of options I think you can have.
Yeah, true. And what are the pickups in this?
So I make them. They're
right.
my brand of number 19. For the ones that we've got on display, most of them are built for the purpose of this build.
Right.
So on those these ones are a single torque coil pickup, which doesn't have the usual, you usually look at them, they go around and then they have that little dip at the bottom. They don't have that.
Okay.
So they're purely just that round oval plate.
Right.
So they are Alnico 5 on the bass side.
Yeah.
Alnico 2 on the treble.
Okay.
Same again for the middle. wound with a 42 gauge wire, and the bridge is an Alnico 2 42 gauge, and I think they go 6.4, 6.6 and 6.8.
Okay, so very vintage sort of
very vintage sound. But you know, vintage voiced pickups, as long as you put enough wire on them, they can do both jobs.
Yeah,
you put overdrive on that, they sound great. So.
Yeah, the thing with the vintage, the voiced pickups, for me personally, is I like it to be slightly rounder sounding.
Yep.
So I think when you have pickups that are overwound, the top end is so prominent that it can be quite hard to dial back sometimes.
We could have a massive long conversation about how that works.
We could.
And I'll give you a little insight in terms of how that works. And it's all about wire choice.
Yeah.
So if you use a thinner wire, you can achieve more ohms per foot.
Right.
With it. So let's say you use a 44 gauge and wound it to 9,000 winds on a single coil. You probably end up with like a 15, 16k pickup.
Yeah.
But because the wire's smaller, it doesn't fit as much in. It doesn't create a higher inductance.
Right.
The higher the inductance is what you call the fatness of a pickup.
Yeah.
So the higher the inductance, it trills off the treble end and boosts the bass and the mid.
Right. Okay.
So you can have a really hot pickup like that, and it looks really good on record. But if the Henrys are really low, it doesn't sound as big as it could.
Okay.
So I tend to go either 43 or 42 all the way across the board.
Right.
So single coils, I like to put as much 42 on there as I physically can. So it sounds big and it tries to sound as full as possible.
But you keep the sort of overall resistance to pick up quite low at the same time.
But the lower the output in terms of resistance, the actual more clarity it has. Whereas again, the higher you go, the fuzzier it gets. So I think if you can get a nice, big sounding, low output pickup, then you can do whatever you want with it. You can play clean, and then if you run it through a messer, you're going to get an overdrive sound no matter what you do.
Well, yeah, that's it, because I mean, most of the classic guitar tones, until things like EMGs were invented and we start talking about these pickups with super high numbers, everything pretty much was your classic 5 or 6 different pickup brands. And none of them would have been, super overwound or anything.
No.
And it just shows how versatile that vintage thing is. It's easy to do more with something, I think, than it is to have something that's all singing, all dancing, and do less with.
Yeah, well, you can always add. You can't take away.
Yeah.
So you can have a low output pickup and add more gain to it.
Yeah.
You cannot remove gain from a high output.
No, exactly.
Pickup. Not really. It will always still be there. So as long as the pickup sounds nice and clean, sound nice and drive.
Well, let's test that theory then by hearing it.
Let's hope.
So I'll just start on the bridge pickup and I'll just play and move through the settings.
Go for it.
That is number 4.
That sounds very phasey. Sounds like you've got an effect on there. Cool.
Yeah, that was quite phasey, but it's nice though. It sort of works for that really quacky sort of thing.
Whole new tone.
Yeah.
Whole new tone.
Is it meant to do that tone? Or have we just unlocked something in this guitar shouldn't do?
A whole new tone. It might be something to do where I may have swapped the polarity of one of them and not the other, and it helps create maybe some silence somewhere, but then that mid section is quacky. I don't know.
It's interesting though, because there's a big difference there between like when you play with the neck single and then you go to 4.
So that is the neck and the middle intertwining.
It sort of reminds me of, you know, the old Veritone circuits.
Yes, I do.
It's that kind of thing. Like the more you push the Veritone circuit, the more it cuts out of the frequency spectrum. And when you get to that position 6, they say it kind of replicates a single coil, but it doesn't. It sounds like a single coil with a low and high pass on. You've just cut everything out other than like a handful of frequencies. It's got that sort of vibe, isn't it? Like super quacky.
Yeah, super quacky.
Cool, I like it.
Cool, happy days.
Cool, yeah, great guitar. I like the addition of the push as well. I'm a big fan of push for gigging use.
Yeah, it's easier than pulling.
Yeah.
You do pulling, you end up losing your knob. Imagine mid-show, you're not flat.
That's what you don't want that to happen. So what else have we got there?
Let's go to the
before we descend into Henning territory. So let's go
to the Les Paul. That's the other new one. Switchcraft jacks, nice and tight, nice and snug, won't fall out on you.
That's also what she said.
Hey, this is
Nice and tight.
Nice and tight. On that, you've got volume, tone.
Cool.
Just so you know. So this is a Pommel Sapele top. I got this top from the local timber yard. See, you can find anything anywhere. So if you shimmy it around, it has a nice little kind of like, it has a grain pattern in there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of sort of natural movement to that, isn't there, which is nice.
So that's, Sapele top. This black poplar back is from a local estate in Southampton, where we are. And this has like little bits, it's like got a little flame section on the corner.
Oh, yeah.
It's just got loads of little bits here. Like I really like this corner here. It just has all these little bits of character to them. And this tree was naturally and a big hole, tone hole,
where you can keep your pick.
Yeah, it's a tone hole, but it won't make any difference.
No.
This was a Pommel Sapele neck with a lightly roasted maple fretboard. Nice. Goto tuners. Shallow wraparound.
Lock and tuners as well. Nice.
Yeah. Shallow wraparound and then a go-to tailpiece. These pickups I have recently just kind of made.
Right.
As a new testing ground for stuff. It's how I imagine how I want a pickup to be.
Right. Okay.
So it's an Alnico 2 in the neck for nice, warm cleans, creamy drives, leads and stuff. Again, wound to the max Alnico with 42 gauge.
Yeah.
So it does sound big and bodied. Quite, there's the low end is there.
Yeah.
But again, that's only 8K output.
Okay. So again, sticking with that classic output level.
Other than that, then the bridge
is
a 42 and a 43 maxed out. So it's around 12. I think it's like 12, 13K. When Alnico 5, just for that little bit of extra drive.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Any hidden options in this?
No, not on this one. No? I've kept this one
straight to the point.
Straight to the point.
Cool. So this is
slightly chunkier neck for you as well.
Yeah, I noticed the chunkier neck. I do like that. Volume, tone. You said, is that?
Yes.
Okay. Let's have a listen there. I see what you mean about that neck. It's very. There's a low end presence to that, but it's not muddy at all.
No, it's creamy.
Like, there's no sort of boominess to that neck pickup whatsoever. I like that. I love the range on that tone control as well.
Yeah.
Again, doesn't get too boomy because of the way the pickups are wound. There's no sort of... Sometimes when you roll the tone all the way off, it's just too much, isn't it?
Yeah, it just disappears into a weird, dark place.
Yeah.
I think there's 6 ways that they say you can wire up a tone.
Right.
And it depends on which way you pick. I think can massively help it. I think if you do the 50s, it helps. If you actually use the tone, it reduces the volume as well a little bit. But that's just done in a more modern way.
Cool.
But yeah, nothing crazy going on there.
Let's plug in the final one.
Do you know what I like about that one most? It's that heel. When you go to pick it up like that, it just kind of like fits.
Yeah, that's the one thing
I hate about Les Pauls.
Yeah, it's a love-hate thing for me because I love Les Pauls and I kind of grew up playing them. But then, if I was to buy a Gibson Les Paul, let's say, and it had that, I wouldn't like it. But if I was to buy another guitar that was a single cut, I would almost expect that.
To have something.
It's almost like with the Les Paul, you kind of expect it to be what it is. You know, you expect
the chunky square.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get the last one plugged in then.
So this is the third guitar I ever made.
Okay.
Way back. It hides in a case. Right. I don't know why. I should get it out more.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's a T shape, obviously, with just the more elongated modern.
Yeah.
Carving there. You've got, this is white ash. This was locally sourced, but white ash is a severely quite heavy wood. It's got a bit of weight to it.
Yeah, it's a good weight to it.
But it is bright. So it has and it's slightly chambered, so there's a chamber pot here, here, here. And there should be one.
Some over there.
Yeah, you can hear the scratch difference. See, and this has just got hip shot bridge. Goto locking tuners. I adore these locking tuners. You see them on that one.
The Goto locking tuners are great. I've got them on a few guitars at home.
Magnums. You just can't argue with it.
No, they just work.
Flamed walnut top. And then just this one is just standard volume, tone, freeway. No crazy stuff going on. I think at one point it did have a 5-way mega switch in there. But I think I just decided to simplify it. Walnut neck and a Zakote fretboard.
Nice.
It's lovely. All our stuff is stainless steel fretwire as well.
That is a nice touch as well. Like, was that an intentional design or was that just the wood that you chose?
That's just the wood. It's the same on the bass and stuff.
That's nice because it almost adds it's like a fretboard design almost, but without... I thought it was like a mountain range or something at first. At first glance,
people seem to... Yeah, it does look like a mountain range. I think that's the beauty of the wood. Right. It just gives it that extra... to me, it looks like a mountain range or like old school Japanese tattoo art, like the cloud work art. Yeah. It has that grain pattern in Dakota. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Cool. And what are the pickups on this one?
These are one of my older design gunslingers.
Okay.
They're based off like the Seymour JBs. Right. Like the standard boom.
Classic.
Yeah. Sitting around that 10k kind of mid-ground output without Echo 5s. They're your go-to, I'm a rocker, I'm going to do some rock on a Marshall tone.
What more can you ask for? And I just noticed there's a half fret on this as well.
Yeah, when I first went for it, I was like, yeah, let's do this nice little curve away. Yeah. And I thought it was a nice idea, like you find on classicals and stuff. Yeah. But and I kept a bit for a few builds, and then I thought, I'll just go back to the normal.
So it's like the half of a 24th fret.
It's 23 and a half frets.
I mean, it makes sense because when do you ever play the 24th fret on the low E string? Like, does anyone actually have a practical use for that fret?
Do you know what? Have words with some of the, I don't know, intervals or someone like that. I'm sure they find a way to do it. Periphery, maybe, I don't know. I'm sure one of those guys will be like, look, I'll show you.
Yeah, there's bound to be some use for it. If you've got a use for the 24th fret and the low E, let us know down below. So let's have a listen to this thing then. That just instantly has that, like the JB sort of sound.
The JB sound.
Yeah, there's a certain tone that those pickups have, and you can't really describe it, but as soon as you hear them, you just kind of know that's that sort of...
Yeah, it's that vibe.
It's the blues rock thing.
Yeah,
I was thinking about
it's a very versatile...
Yeah, it's like a PAF on steroids. It's that sort of...
working man's pickup.
Yeah, that's it. It's like an instantly recognisable reference, isn't it? Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I like the neck on that as well. That's a nice rounded, chunky neck feel.
Definitely.
And I like, for speaking of working musicians, the slightly larger side dots, which makes a big difference when you're playing on stage.
Live, yeah, definitely.
There's nothing worse than the start of a set and the lights are down and you're like, which fret am I on? So that makes a big difference as well.
Wonderful.
Cool. So yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to show me these.
Not a problem.
Where can people find out more about the brand if they want to check the guitars out?
Instagram, Parkhurst Guitars, and we have a website, Parkhurst Guitars.
Yeah.
And I say we a lot, but it is just me.
The royal we.
The royal we. I'm the queen now.
And they do basses as well, as you can see there. There's a lovely
bass
to sell
style
shop.
bass here. I've got a few more basses in commission coming up, so keep an eye out.
Yeah. So there'll be some links down below in the description for Jake's pages. You've got the Instagram, website, they'll all be down below, so go and click those. Don't forget to check out the other videos from the British Boutique Guitar Festival as well. Big thanks to Mike for putting the festival on again, and to all the brands for attending. And I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks for watching.